Look around your neighborhood, your town, your local online group. Do you see it? The fractures? Maybe it's a historic injustice that was never addressed, simmering beneath polite exchanges. Maybe it's a new development that has pitted longtime residents against newcomers. Perhaps it's the national political divide, mirrored perfectly in who puts up which yard sign and who no longer speaks at the grocery store. A divided community isn't just a social problem, it's a collective heartache. It erodes trust, stifles progress, and makes everyone feel isolated and unsafe in the one place they should feel most at home. The question that haunts every concerned citizen is, can this even be fixed? And if so, where on earth do I start? I'm Habila, and I want to tell you, unequivocally, that the repair of a community's social fabric is not only possible, it is one of the most noble and impactful projects you can undertake. It is not the work of one hero, but the careful, coordinated work of many bridge builders. Today, I provide you with the blueprint. This is not about forcing harmony. It's about architecting the conditions where trust can slowly, bravely begin to grow again. We begin with diagnosis, not action. A common, catastrophic mistake in divided communities is to host a town hall or community dialogue without first understanding the landscape. This often becomes a stage for the loudest, most aggrieved voices to reenact the conflict, driving the divisions deeper. An expert mediation tip is to start with private, one-on-one listening tour. Identify stakeholders from every faction, every demographic, every perspective, especially those who are usually silent. Your goal in these conversations is not to solve anything, but to ask, what is your greatest hope for this community? And what is your deepest concern about what's happening here? And most importantly, who else needs to be at the table? You are mapping the emotional and relational terrain. You are looking for the hidden pains, the unmet needs, and, crucially, you are identifying potential bridge figures, irrespective individuals who may have connections across divides. This quiet, pre-work is the invisible foundation of everything that follows. From this intelligence, you move to creating a container. A divided community cannot heal in an unstructured, free-for-all space. You must design a process that is explicitly safe, fair, and focused on the future. This means establishing clear agreements before any group dialogue begins. We will speak from our own experience. We will not interrupt. We will not engage in personal attacks. It often means having skilled, neutral facilitators, trained locals, or brought-in professionals to hold that container firmly. A common mistake to avoid here is allowing the conversation to become a debate about the past, about who was right or wrong. While history must be acknowledged, the focus must pivot to the future. The core question for any community dialogue should be, given all that has happened, what kind of community do we want to build together for our children? This future-focused question is inherently more unifying than dissecting past wounds, though it requires those wounds to have been first acknowledged in those private listening sessions. With a safe container built, the real work of bridge building begins through shared action. Dialogue alone is rarely enough to heal division. People need to do something together. This is where strategies for universal acceptance become tangible. You design and initiate small, concrete, collaborative projects that address a universally acknowledged need. It could be a community cleanup of a neglected park, a storytelling festival where elders share the history of the town, a collaborative mural project, or a volunteer drive for the local food bank. The project itself is almost secondary. The primary goal is to create neutral ground where former adversaries stand side by side, shoulder to shoulder, working towards a common goal. In these moments, new identities are forged. People stop being that person from the other side and start being the person who showed up to help paint the mural. This shared positive experience deposits a tiny piece of social capital, a memory of cooperation that can be referenced later when tensions rise. Ultimately, sustainable healing requires moving from projects to new structures. This means institutionalizing the bridge building. It could be forming a permanent, diverse community relations council that meets regularly. It could be integrating conflict resolution modules into local school curricula. It could be creating a rotating neighbor-to-neighbor mentorship program that pairs old and new residents. The goal is to weave the principles of dialogue, collaboration, and mutual respect into the very governance and social rituals of the community. This transforms bridge building from a reactive crisis response into a proactive cultural norm. It acknowledges that division is not a one-time event to be solved, but a constant human tendency that requires ongoing, diligent countermeasures of connection. This work is a marathon of 1,000 small steps. It requires the patience of a gardener, not the force of a bulldozer. You will face skepticism, setbacks, and fatigue. But every handshake that replaces a glare, every collaborative project that is completed, every story that is heard is a brick laid in a new foundation. You are not just resolving a conflict, you are literally reweaving the social fabric, thread by thread. A crucial and responsible disclaimer: community bridge building in contexts of deep historical trauma, systemic violence, or ongoing oppression requires specialized, trauma-informed approaches and often professional facilitation. The strategies outlined are for general community division. If the divisions in your community involve criminal activity, active threats, or severe psychological harm, engaging local authorities, social services, and professional peace-building organizations is essential. This guide is for educational empowerment and is not a substitute for professional crisis intervention or legal action where required. Safety, physical and psychological for all participants is the non-negotiable first principle. Your community's story of division can have a new chapter, and you can help write it. In the comments, share one small, concrete action you could take this month to be a bridge builder where you live. For more in-depth guides on transforming division into cohesion, subscribe to Habila The Bridge Builder. Let's rebuild together.